Alright y'all, welcome to another reaction video. Now last video we reacted to Tony Yayo and Vlad talking about like music deals in the rap industry and everything, and he brung up the 50 Cent vitamin water deal. So real quick, I got like interested to watch this video of him of 50 Cent explaining it and everything. So um yeah, we're gonna be reacting to this, man. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment some videos for me to watch. You know what I'm saying? Run up the sub count, support your boy. But let's get into this video, man.
That was the principle behind one of the best business decisions I ever made, which was my deal with Vitamin Water back in 2004. Today, I'm celebrated for that decision. But like when I signed with Eminem, at the time, it had a lot of people scratching their heads. That includes Chris Lighty, who was skeptical when I first told him I wanted to invest in a water company. Sell water to who, he asked. At the time, a lot of rappers were making money promoting liquor like Hennessy or Cavassier. In Chris's mind, booze was the smarter space to invest in. There was a method to my madness, though. I knew through personal experience people don't always drink alcohol at live events. Maybe they're under 21 or don't want to shell out $20 for a stale beer. One thing that's always available and popular at any concert, however, is water. It's always going to be the top-selling beverage at events. One day I was walking through the water aisle in the supermarket and noticed a premium brand selling for $3. Then I saw the no-name brands were going for closer to 75 cents. I thought to myself, if you blindfolded me, there's no way I could tell which one was which. The premium brand had just done a better job at marketing and promoting. That was another breakthrough. It had never occurred to me before, but just like booze, you could mark up water. Not to mention, water was a more authentic representation of my lifestyle. I don't really drink alcohol, but I definitely consume lots of water. And because I consume so much of it, I know drinking pure water alone got boring. To switch things up a bit, I started drinking flavored water. One day I was working out in the gym in LA, and my trainer gave me a bottle of something called vitamin water.
Real quick, I did notice that, you know, drinking regular water is cool, but when you add things like lemon lemon water, coconut water, it adds a little bit of flavor, but the flavor that you're adding is also healthy, like vitamin water. It really helps your water intake. Um, I did a water cleanse, or I did a juice cleanse for a month. Basically, I just drank water, all water for a month. I didn't drink no gallons, but still, like the whole month, only liquid I consumed was water. And I could say like, I mean, it was easy, but I feel like even now, like I said, if you add some type of like add something healthy to your water, it just increases your water intake, and it's not so boring. It's like, because a lot of times you're like, all right, I'm about to eat something, so I need something to drink, and you hate that you gotta settle for water. But if you drink something like lemon water, coconut water, vitamin water, um, I don't know what other types. I know there's other types and stuff like that, but that really does help your water intake, and it helps you enjoy the process of like not having to drink soda or juice, something like that. You can drink water, but still get flavor out of it, but it's still healthy.
I took a swig and liked it so much that I made a mental note that that was a company I should invest in. Just to make sure I didn't forget, I actually threw my empty bottle in my gym bag. When I got back to my hotel, I called Chris and told him about the flavored water that I like so much. He did some research and found out it was distributed by a company called Glasso that was based in Queens of all places.
Oh
With
shoot!
my insistence, we decided that this is the brand that I should be working with. Once I sold Chris on my vision, we hatched a plan. During a commercial for my Reebok sneakers that showed me working out in the boxing gym, we snuck in a shot of me taking a sip of vitamin water. It was barely half a second, but it was enough. A friend of Chris's who worked at Glasso saw the spot and reached out to see if I'd be interested in an endorsement deal. They had just developed a new product called Formula 50 because it contained 50% of the RDA of 7 vitamins and minerals. Who better to sell Formula 50 than me?
Yeah.
I agreed, but I counted with something different than the standard endorsement deal. Instead of taking a 5 or 6 figure deal to appear in the ads, I wanted to invest in the entire company. Instead of taking cash from them, I actually wanted equity in the company. It was a very aggressive ask, and it caught Glassdoor off guard. They weren't opposed to the idea, but they were nervous about getting into business with me on that level. They only knew me as a rapper who'd been shot 9 times, and they weren't sure they wanted to be associated with that sort of energy. I needed to put their minds at ease, so I took a meeting with the company's CEO. I didn't show up with an entourage, just Chris and me. I expressed how much respect I had for their brand. I was already a loyal consumer, and how hard I planned to work at spreading the word. I didn't give off the arrogant attitude or aggressive energy they probably were expecting. I presented myself as someone who saw a special business opportunity and was prepared to work his ass off to make it happen. And that was the truth. My approach helped them get over their apprehension, and we were able to strike an equity deal. The next order of business was to reimagine Formula 50. To me, vitamin water was just a more upscale version of quarter water, the flavored drinks you would get in bodegas for 25 cents a pop. As anyone from the hood can tell you, the most popular flavor of quarter water has always been grape. No one from the hood was trying to mess with lychee or passion fruit flavored water, which was what they had been thinking about. Formula 50 had to be grape to resonate with my base. Glasso respected my vision and changed the flavor to grape. Once everything was settled, I promoted the hell out of vitamin water. I was on billboards and bus stop ads across the country. I filmed the iconic commercial where I conducted a symphony orchestra playing in the club while taking sips of Formula 50. It seemed everywhere you looked, I was extolling the virtues of vitamin water. Glasso's market share began to rise, and the beverage industry took notice. So much so that in 2007, Coca-Cola purchased Glasso for $4.1 billion. Of course, I got a piece of that. I'd like to give you a number, but I signed a non-disclosure agreement to never name the actual price. Let's just say I did very, very well. It was the biggest come up in my life, which I later celebrated in the song I Get Money. I took quarter water sold in bottles for $2, then Coca-Cola came and bought it for pains. What the fuck? What the fuck was definitely what the rest of hip hop was asking once they heard how much I made. There had been groundbreaking hip hop deals before. Run DMC and Adidas, LL Cool J and FUBU, but nothing even remotely on this level. In an environment where everyone was looking for the next deal, I had identified with something that was sitting in plain sight, but no one else had been able to see. I was confident enough in my vision not to get caught up worrying about the upfront money. To be fair, I was still riding high off of the success of my recording career and wasn't pressed for another 100K. I understand that not many people may find themselves in that position. Still, no matter what your situation is financially, if you really believe in something, I'd always recommend that you go for a piece of equity over an upfront payday. When you ask for equity, you're essentially betting on yourself. When I did that with vitamin water, it was a fairly unique bet to make. Now, with the rise of startups, it's a form of compensation that a lot of people are looking for, especially in the tech and media fields. It's always smart to negotiate for equity, but you also have to be savvy about what sort of equity you're getting, because all slices of the corporate pie are not always equal. If you're about to negotiate a deal with a company that might include equity, the first thing you must do is hire a lawyer. I don't care if you're broke, this is something you must do. Borrow the money if you have to. Then make sure it's someone who's familiar with corporate governance. Don't hire your cousin who does real estate work, or the guy that handled your divorce because they'll do it a little cheaper. You're someone who specializes in these kind of contracts. Spending a few extra dollars at this stage, even if it hurts for a minute, can save you a ton of money down the road.
One thing I always say though is if I do get to a level where I'm making a lot of money, I don't want to be cheap, you know. When it comes to like agents, or if it comes to like if I'm working out, I want to get the best trainer. Uh, Anything business wise, I'm definitely not cheap about that stuff. You know, being like growing up black, like a lot of stuff that we do is like we look for the cheapest option, and it's understandable because we won't make the type of money to be getting everything at the highest price. But it's like if something break, you know, instead of getting a new one, just tape it together or nigger rig it, you know. Uh, but I never really liked that. I guess I understood it You know what I'm saying? We don't got no money to just be buying a new, new devices and stuff like that. But uh, I was never really cheap when it came to things like that. So especially, so imagine if I get things like a lawyer or agent, manager, or stuff like that. Like I feel like it's best to really make sure you're spending the right price to get something good.
You should also familiarize yourself with some basic issues so that you're educated when you do speak with someone. Most people aren't going to be in the same position I was in with vitamin water, where I could actually get a piece of the company. Instead, you're probably going to be in a situation where the company is offering you a lower salary, offset by stock options. Before you can determine if that's a good deal, you need to know the overall valuation of the company. If the company already put out an IPO, an initial stock offering, you can calculate its market value by multiplying the company's stock price by the number of shares outstanding. If it hasn't issued any stock yet, it's going to be harder to figure out. You're probably going to have to ask the founders what their method of determining the valuation of the company was. If they don't want to tell you or give you a vague answer that doesn't make sense, then it's probably not a deal you want to pursue anyway. If you're being offered stock, you need to know whether it is vested or not. Most stock options are vested, which means you have to stay with the company for a certain amount of time before you can cash them in. If your option doesn't vest for 4 years, you need to ask yourself if you're comfortable staying with the company that long. If not, the equity might not be worth it. A lot of times, people hear the terms equity or stock options and think that they've hit the lottery. It is true that equity and stocks are one of the quickest ways to get a lot of money. But you can't just walk into a startup situation blindly. You have to educate yourself and ask a lot of difficult questions early in the process. That way, if the startup you're working for does become one of the rare ones that sees its value skyrocket, you're going to be perfectly positioned to reap the rewards. I've seen a lot of people miss out on a golden opportunity by chasing a check instead of maneuvering for a piece of equity.
Hey man, 50 got to be like one of the smartest hip hop businessmen. If it's not him, it's not Dre. Ice Cube is a good one. Um, he's one of the smartest ones. So I'm glad that like he was able to like transition from like being like the thug, the gangster, to like being able to be a smart businessman without changing his image. Like he didn't have to become, whitewashed or anything to, make that transition, which is always inspiring because he's still 50 Cent, you know, and you see he got movies and TV shows out now, so I always look up to him for that. But like the video, um, comment some videos you want me to see, or just comment in general. You know what I'm saying? Let's build a community here, a strong community. Run the sub count, support your boy, and I'm see y'all in the next one, man.